Boy, incredible, great, shocking news across the board today. I'm so excited for you. I mean, just everything has happened in just a matter of a few moments. First, $200 a month on top of your normal SSI Social Security benefits until the pandemic goes away. Next, the continuation of PUA, FPUC, and UI and FPEUC until the pandemic goes away. Then, student debt forgiveness. Oh my God. Hazard pay back on track. And finally, big stimulus checks as warranted until we're out of this pandemic. This is incredible, great news. I'm so excited for you. I literally have this much to go over tonight of all incredible, shocking, great news. You finally getting to the finish line. And this is a bombshell of evenings LALATE. Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Evenings LALATE, and boy, I have never seen so much incredible, great news hit you in just one day, and I'm so excited for you. It started, of course, before pre-dawn when we learned that Pfizer has a vaccine that will be rolled out to millions of Americans and will be available in December and then fully in deployment by January, February. But boy, the stimulus, second stimulus, third stimulus, great news followed thereafter. Be ready to get your jaw off the floor because that's where mine went. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe because I'm dropping videos like, better than I'm dropping hits. Better than I'm dropping, new rap tracks. My mixtape is not coming this week, but I'm making up for it with great stimulus news. Also, like this video. In this video, I'll be going over. Boy, what am I going over? I mean, there's just so much to go over tonight. First, I'll be going briefly over the COVID announcement, and we all know that. Then I'll be going over what's going on with unemployment benefits. UI, PUA, FPUC, FPEUC. Then I'll be going to hazard pay. Then student debt forgiveness. Oh my God. Then SSI, Social Security benefits. Am I missing something? Hazard pay, I did that. My goodness. Oh, stimulus checks, of course. And then maybe I'll throw in some sirloin casino. Boy, it's an incredible, great news. Oh, EIDL and all the business loans as well. It's incredible, great news. I mean, I just never seen so much stuff hit in one day. It's just categorically incredible, and I'm so glad you're here. So let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news tonight is that stimulus is coming. Stimulus is coming. Mitch McConnell has the Senate back in session today. First item of business is stimulus relief. Joe Biden over the weekend and today detailed more about his stimulus transition package, and Wall Street believes stimulus is coming. So now what we're dealing with is figuring out the deal provisions and figuring out the nuances. And let me get right to them. Let me start, of course, very briefly with the incredible historic news this morning. As Pfizer announced a vaccine, 90% efficiency, it will be rolled out in December and could be in mass use by January, February. This is incredible, great news. I detail that more on Mornings LALATE, so let me get right to the stimulus. The stimulus, boy, there's two paths of stimulus news that's coming out. There's the Biden transition announcements. As the president-elect, he's making announcements. He calls it economic recovery. And then there's the Biden campaign announcements, which predate this weekend. So what I'm going to do every step of the way is I'm going to tell you where something is Biden transition statements versus Biden campaign statements. All right, so Biden transition statements. He said economic impact payments will be sent out should conditions require. Oh my goodness. Young and student debt holders should not bear the brunt of this crisis. So in his transition statements, he talked at least, and this is not a comprehensive list, of course, he talked at least about hazard pay, unemployment assistance, and PPP and EIDL and jobs. First, hazard pay. Hazard pay will land in the hands of educators, firefighters, and other essential workers being laid off. Next, he talked about unemployment insurance to help those who are out of work. Then he talked about basically PPP and EIDL, pay a comeback package for businesses and entrepreneurs. And finally, he talked about job debts. Then he had also talked about student debt forgiveness. But let me now go to the specific items one by one now that you know the broad stroke. First, stimulus checks. Joe Biden says that he will send out stimulus checks as often as needed and as warranted as required until the pandemic goes away. Two incredibly and great words of that sentence: as often as needed and until the pandemic goes away. What this sounds like? Do you hear it? Yeah, I hear it. It sounds exactly like the Harris Sanders bill. A check every month for $2,000 per month and for at least 6 months until the pandemic goes away, until unemployment goes down. Now, as we sit here today, that was a Harris's statement bill before, when she was running for president. Would Mitch McConnell have agreed to something that robust? Absolutely not. Would he agree to multiple stimulus checks? Yes. He said he would agree to the problem solvers bill. It has 2 stimulus checks in it. $1,200 now, $1,200 again in March. You and I don't like that for 2 reasons. One, we don't like the number. And second, we don't like waiting to March. We need stimulus checks now. So what you have absolutely been categorically incredible great with is getting the message out to Joe and out to Mitch to use the CARES Act 1 SBA unused money and repurpose it for stimulus checks. I even saw someone on Twitter actually make memes of it. It's absolutely wonderful. It's incredible. You followed all my guidance, which is don't use the $800 billion. Don't refer to it as the $800 billion thing sitting over there, because these people don't know what you're talking about. They all know that there's unused PPP money. They all know it could be repurposed. They are going to battle over what's to be repurposed for. You want it to be used for us. Stimulus checks. $800 billion would be $5,000 stimulus check. It would land in your hands. It's categorically incredible. Mitch would love it because it would not cause the national debt to increase. It would not require taking money out of Treasury. This is money that has already taken the hit on the national debt. And so what's incredible great news is it would reduce the problem solvers bill, which Mitch already wants to do at 1.5. It would reduce the problem solvers bill. How much? Well, $300 billion is about a $2,000 stimulus check. And so the problem solvers bill has 2 $1,200 stimulus checks. Well, it would reduce the problem solvers bill to around $1 trillion, which is the magic number for Mitch. This is incredible great news. Now, let me turn to SSI. Someone dropped in one of the comments, I think it was on Twitter, said, LALATE, I just watched your video. Thank you so much. Does that mean that Social Security beneficiaries would not receive a stimulus check? No. What I make very clear in this video is that of every single instrument I'm referring to, the only one that says you can't get the other one is usually PPP. PPP says I can't give you PPP if you got something else. So if you're not getting PPP, just don't worry about that subject. The other one that you can't get at the same time is if you're on unemployment, but you're also getting a grant to work. Yeah. So if you're unemployed, you can't get a grant to work. That's sort of obvious. So that's a great news. So let me turn to my SSI viewers. Joe Biden is co-signing the Elizabeth Warren, Ron Wyden, I guess that's the way you pronounce it, Social Security plan. And this is to raise monthly benefits for Social Security veterans and supplemental Social Security income beneficiaries. So that's Social Security, VA, and SSI beneficiaries as part of the stimulus package. Understand, it's an additional $200 a week, $200 per month. So it's not a total of $200 per month. Someone dropped on the comments. I'm like, no. It's not $200 total per month. It's an additional $200 per month. This is why we're pushing to include in Congress's next stimulus package a $200 increase in the monthly benefit of all Social Security, veterans, and supplemental income, Social SSI beneficiaries through the end of 2021. This would put about $4,000 in the pockets of seniors and people with disabilities who have earned this benefit by contributing to Social Security with every paycheck. A simple benefit increase like this would improve the lives of millions of people and help stabilize our economy and recover. It's absolutely incredible, great news. So if you're sitting back and doing the math, it's the entire year of 2021 next year. and some of the months of this year. And it would put about $4,000 in your pocket by the entire end of the program. And this is incredibly great news. Next, hazard pay. I'm moving along to the next one. Stay with me. This is an incredible video. You're going to see so many things and your jaws are going to drop. Hazard pay is back on, baby. Hazard pay is back on. So hazard pay was both a discussion of the Biden transition team and the Biden campaign team. So this statement, as you heard with the Elizabeth Warren program, the Elizabeth Warren statement was made earlier this year as part of the campaign. In the case of the hazard pay, Joe Biden said on Saturday, and also said it during the campaign statements. So this is what he said during the campaign statements. I'll just cut to the chase. It was the entire hazard pay bill. Enact premium pay for frontline workers, putting themselves at risk. There's no substitute for ensuring workers' safety, but all frontline workers putting their lives on the line should receive premium payment for their work. Under the Senate Democrats' Heroes Fund proposal, the federal government would step in and give essential workers a raise with additional funding to attract workers. The premium payment would be paid in addition to sick leave and caregivers. What is this? This is hazard pay. This is the hazard pay that I started recording, upwards of 2 months ago. That $10,000 that would land in your bank account if you worked during the pandemic from January up to the present. That $13 an hour that calculates how many hours you work. So if you've worked 1,000 hours since January at your central place of work, that's $13 an hour times 1,000 hours is $13,000. You would not get $13,000. You would get $10,000. It maxes out at $10,000 if you made $100,000 last year, or $5,000 if you made over $100,000 last year. Joe Biden is putting hazard pay back in the books, baby. It's absolutely incredible. What's important to understand is that the Temple of Doom took out hazard pay in her last stimulus package. She took it out. The one that was 2.2, she took it out. Joe Biden is putting it back in. Now, what's important to understand with hazard pay, and I'm going to deal this with the other provisions coming up in a second, namely FPUC, is that Mitch McConnell's not going to sign a $10,000 hazard pay bill that gives you $10,000. No. But Joe Biden's going to be pushing for a hazard pay bill, so you would get something, presuming there's a bipartisan agreement, and it includes it. This is categorically incredible. For the first time in a few weeks, we finally have hazard pay back on, baby. All right, unemployment. This is exciting news. So Joe Biden made a statement about unemployment in his transition papers this weekend, and he made statements during his campaign statements as well. What's the bottom line? He wants to extend. He uses the word extend in the transition statements. He wants to extend unemployment benefits. My God, this is good news because he's extending FPUC, he's extending PUA, he's extending UI, which was extended by FPEUC, and basically he doesn't want you to run out of weeks. What's important to understand, I'll read his statement in a second, is that there's a couple of things that you talk about when we talk about unemployment benefits. There is making sure you have weeks of benefits, which is the most important thing of anything. You have to have weeks of benefits. If you run out of weeks of benefits, you get nothing. He doesn't want you to run out of weeks of benefits, whether you're on UI or PUA. This is categorically credible, and Mitch McConnell agrees with that. Next, you have the amount of coverage. How long does the coverage continues? Joe Biden in his statements over the weekend says it will continue until it's no longer needed. We're not going to keep on doing this 4 weeks of benefits or 3 weeks of benefits. He's going to give you a longer horizon. This is incredible, great news. So then the only issue that really remains is the number for FPUC. And certainly he's not going to get $600 a week. What he said in his statements during the campaign is Biden will work with Congress to extend boosted benefits, the extra $600 for however long this crisis lasts. He's going to get the second half of the sentence, which is however long the crisis lasts, but he's not going to get $600 a week because Mitch is not going to do $600 a week. Mitch said he would do the problem solvers bill. Lindsey Graham says he'd do the problem solvers bill. That's $450 for 8 weeks and 5 weeks for $600. But Mitch has done $300 in his prior bills. So would Mitch do $400? That's where the push has to be. That's likely where it's going to land. Oh my God. So there you go. Provide state and local and tribal workers the aid that they need for educators, firefighters, and other essential workers. That's hazard pay. Extend unemployment benefit insurance. That's FPUC, PUA, FPEUC, and make sure you have no weeks elapsing. Then providing comeback package for Main Street businesses and entrepreneurs. That's EIDL loan. That's PPP. And a Job Corps. Finally, student loan debt repayment, which I think here it is. I'm looking for my notes. Joe Biden says that he will do a scaled down version of the debt forgiveness plan that Elizabeth Warren proposed, which was to cancel $100,000 of student debt if you made household income of $100,000 or less. So what does Joe Biden want to do? Oh my God, I think I found my notes somewhere. I think it was if you made $120,000 or less in your job as since being a student, he would forgive your federal debt, student debt loan. Boy, I mean, is anyone overwhelmed by all this? I am. It's just, in 1 week, everything has changed. Well, except her hairstyle, it's incredible. So now the focus really of the Purple Power is to make sure that these people reuse that CARES Act 1 money to ensure that the FPUC has the range of coverage that it starts back into July and then it goes all the way forward as needed, that it falls at a regular, normal weekly amount, presumably $400 a week, that you don't lose weeks of coverage, that you get hazard pay coverage, that there is some hazard pay calculation, that all essential workers are included and not just a finite number of it, that student debt forgiveness is in there, and that ultimately what's important to understand is that Mitch McConnell wants to keep things nice and tight, and so does Joe Biden. And ultimately, if we run the numbers as the Purple Power, we understand what keeps it low and trim and slim. Guess what does it? Well, no money for hairstyles. No money for the cows and the Cowsino. They've had enough. And no money for Gavin and Andrew. And no money for salary raises for federal employees. And you get it done. It's as simple as that. It's just an incredible, great day. And there's so much to process and so quickly to figure it out in your brain cell. So here we go. Let's start pushing and let's get it going. It's a great evening. I'm so excited for you. Join me tomorrow morning on Early Mornings LALATE. Wall Street believes your stimulus is coming. And now that Wall Street has the vaccine out of the equation and understands that's coming, understands the timeline for it, the next focus is really only stimulus. Mitch, Wall Street, Joe, you, and I. It's going to be a great early mornings, starting at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, stay informed, stay smiling. Don't forget to go to the Fuzz Channel, subscribe. Almost said that. Almost skipped that. Don't forget to go to the Fuzz Channel, subscribe. Say hello to anyone that needs a new hairstyle. Also like this video. And stay smiling, stay focused, and stay in that life. Oh boy.